was in the Nikkei publication, Nikkei Asia, which talked about how key Apple suppliers have to cut back. Why? Because of energy issues in China.
Over the last few weeks, more than half of China's provinces have imposed electricity restrictions, affecting the lives of tens of millions of people. Elevators have been switched off, store hours have been reduced, and factories have had to cut back on their operational days and electricity use. Outright blackouts have occurred in some provinces. Meanwhile, industrial output fell in September for the first time since China began to recover from the COVID-19 restrictions. This is seen as one of the worst economic conditions that had happened since in recent years. For today's video, we are going to take a look at China's energy crisis. It's the worst power outage China has seen in a decade. The immediate culprit is China's continued reliance on coal, which accounts for 70% of the country's electricity generation. The central government controls the price of power paid to generators, whereas coal prices are determined by the market. If coal prices rise, coal power stations will be unable to continue to deliver electricity unless regulators raise electricity rates. Plants can thus avoid losing money by declaring a technical failure or failing to obtain the coal they require, both of which occurred in the run-up to the current crisis. However, after the outbreak of the pandemic, a series of legislative blunders and poorly thought-out market initiatives contributed to the problem. While China's market share of renewable and nuclear energy has grown, the crisis has highlighted the country's ongoing reliance on coal. Regulated power prices are meant to protect electricity users from price risks. It's a subsidy that comes at the expense of power producers. When Beijing raises prices, it does so slowly because the public notices. China's recovery from the pandemic's first economic blow was overly reliant on construction and heavy industry, resulting in an 11% increase in coal demand in the first half of 2021. This short-term trend contrasted sharply with Beijing's promises for a green rebound and enhanced emission reduction pledges. Because of the increased demand for coal, the market was always going to be tight. However, the government's focus was on reducing producer price inflation, and raising power costs did not fit into that plan. Instead, as fuel costs rose as a result of the global recovery and China's burgeoning demand, regulators adopted steps that amounted to an implied prohibition on rising coal prices, and they were even considering a formal price ceiling. This meant that Chinese coal miners couldn't charge the same high prices as their counterparts in other countries. Coal plants cut back on coal purchases and depleted stockpiles as a result of the failure to raise power prices and push back on coal price rises. Because the usual supply and demand signals were muted, coal miners were unable to ramp up output on time. Power plants have been depleting their stockpiles for months. According to industry data from Wind Financial Terminal, reported coal inventories at key power plants began sliding below historical averages a year ago, and were down 37% at the end of August compared to the same time last year. Beijing's attempt to introduce pricing flexibility in late 2019 looks to have exacerbated the situation. Within a particular price range, power plants were allowed the ability to negotiate long-term contracts with grid operators. This could have allowed plants to negotiate larger margins, but it had the opposite impact, as some predicted in January 2020. Because China's coal-fired power plants are built over the capacity, the grid operator had pricing authority, and generators bid low, further cutting rates. It's straight out of a textbook. Oversupply resulted in low prices and little, or no profit for suppliers. It didn't help that the government's first aim was to lower electricity prices. Prices could only be reduced in 2020, the first year of the new system. The impact of grid operator power plant agreements, as well as government pressure to keep rates low, may be observed in the limited pricing data available. Even while coal prices rose, the average rates paid to every listed company that is reporting data declined in the first and second quarters of 2021. Government efforts to reduce power costs by 2020 are anticipated to put additional pressure on grid operators to lower rates. Having too many coal-fired power facilities, ironically, contributed to the electricity shortage. Within China, a slew of alternative and false explanations have surfaced. Grid operators have attempted to blame the problems on increased demand, despite the fact that demand has already fallen from its summer peak due to the real estate downturn and winter season. Power rationing has been blamed by opponents of climate action on local government initiatives to reach energy consumption targets or broader climate goals. The foreign media has speculated that attempts to switch from coal to renewables may be contributing to the blackouts, and has focused disproportionately on whether China's prohibition on importing Australian coal is the problem. To be honest, several of these causes have previously contributed to power rationing. Due to a lack of generating capacity and outmoded grid management, Zhejiang province began rationing power at the end of 2020 to achieve energy consumption targets after soaring demand, while Hunan and Jiangxi provinces experienced power shortages at the same time. The outages have also been blamed on the fluctuation of wind power, with state media noting low production in a single area as an example. However, in the months of July and August, wind, solar, and nuclear power all produced record output, up 16%, 10%, and 12%, respectively, alleviating the pressure on coal supplies. In the short term, raising coal supplies and power prices is required to turn the lights back on and get through the winter, and Beijing's central planners are already taking action in this direction. At the same time, the crisis should be viewed as a sobering reminder of the economy's reliance on fossil fuel pricing, and the transition to zero-carbon energy should be accelerated. More zero-carbon producing capacity in place, unaffected by fuel prices, would have been the best thing that could have happened in this situation. The situation has been building for months, and it will take time to address. Since early 2021, coal purchases have trailed behind demand, and stocks have been dropping, resulting in bottlenecks and sky-high coal prices, as everyone tries to refill at the same time. Because electricity consumption would be particularly high over the winter, Beijing's authorities will face a difficult task in restoring full power supply in the coming months. China's power pricing reforms, which have advanced at a snail's pace for the past decade, will now happen very quickly and ad hoc as part of the authorities' efforts. The provinces of Guangdong and Hunan have already announced modifications to the rates paid to generators, allowing them to raise rates in response to rising fuel prices. This is a short-term answer, but it shifts the price risk to customers and retailers, undermining an industrial policy based on stable electricity pricing while also increasing the appeal of zero-carbon energy, which is unaffected by fuel prices. Meanwhile, the current power outages are affecting the entire economy, including retail, services, and high-tech manufacturing, which the government is counting on to support economic growth, as real estate has slowed following Beijing's decision to withdraw its construction stimulus and impose targeted credit restrictions on the sector. This is what caused Evergrande's demise, as well as a drop in steel and cement demand in recent months. The worry, as always, is that after the acute crisis is handled, the government will fall back on its old playbook of more wasteful construction projects to prop up the economy, causing another spike in emissions, and delaying the economic transition away from construction-driven growth. Within China's power industry and government, significant fossil fuel lobbyists are also exploiting the crisis to criticize climate-related policies under false pretenses, in an attempt to make the government more hesitant to propose new climate-related targets and actions. What counts most, though, is how Beijing interprets events internally, not the external noise. The crucial document laying out the aims and actions to peak carbon dioxide emissions before 2030 is likely to be released soon by the central planners. This will provide a sense of China's objectives to the rest of the world, ahead of the forthcoming climate summit in Glasgow, Scotland. Only then will we be able to determine how the energy crisis will impact China's desire to combat climate change, and eventually shift away from coal. With this, hopefully, you guys able to understand the current economic situation in China. Until next time, Business Wisdom, signing out.